Now I will explain ESOP grant letter format. So the company is issuing ESOP grant letter to the employees. This is the format. So this has to be on the letterhead of the company. And here we'll mention the dates to Mr. So-and-so, the employee name and his designation, and the employee code will fill up. Then subject granting of employee stock option scheme under dash ESOP scheme. We will keep one name like 2025 ESOP scheme. So any name you can keep. So dear employee, the nomination and remuneration committee, this is designated as a compensation committee. It is mandatory. So NRC, nomination remuneration committee, compensation committee of so-and-so company, write your company name, is pleased to invite you to participate in so-and-so scheme, give the name. So this is the covering letter. So this scheme is designed to reward our valued employee for your past association. If you are giving with the existing employee, appreciating is a past association, this is the language. If you are giving to the fresh employee, then little change in the language. So fostering long-term value creation in the organization. Because this is a covering letter, so depending on the employee, you can change the language. So our growth journey has just begun. So for a startup company, I'm giving this letter. So this also can be modified according to the company. We strongly believe in the company's future plans. We trust that you share this belief and will continue to give our best efforts towards achieving our collective goals. After all, this is a collaborative endeavor and success depend on our unified efforts as a team. As we work together to create a value for the company, the value of these options will continue to grow in the years ahead. This is the format of covering letter. So once again, we are pleased to have you as a valued member of the dash. So that is the company name is right. And we look forward to continuing this partnership for many more years to come. By virtue of this scheme, you are being offered employee stock options convertible into equity shares of the company pursuant to the provisions of Companies Act 2013 and rules made thereunder, and in accordance with the SEBI share-based employee benefit and sweat equity regulation 2021. Here we are giving the provisions. So these options will vest over the next 4 years. It depends on the company. So NRC will decide whether it is a 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. So minimum vesting period is 1 year. So here we are talking about these options will vest over the next 4 years subject to continuous employment in the company. So this is the complete option of the company, whether it is a 4 years or 3 years. So minimum mandatory vesting period is a 1 year. So the details of the number of options granted, vesting, exercise date, exercise price, and manner of exercising the options and other terms and conditions are given in Form 1. So along with the covering letter, we are also giving a Form 1 where we are giving complete details of grant, vest, exercise price, manner of exercise, all the details will be given in the attached Form 1. So here 4 years also we can give like this first year this 30%, example, second year 20%, and next third year another 30%, fourth year another 20% like that. So this is the decision of the NRC, this vesting period. So the offers shall lapse if not accepted on or before the closing date mentioned in Form 1. We are giving all the details and also giving the date, like 30 days we are giving. So if the employee is accepting, he has to give acceptance on or before so and so date. If he is not responding within that date, then the offer will lapse. So if the offer is acceptable to you, kindly sign acceptance form. Acceptance format also we are attaching here. This is a Form 2. So in token of your acceptance, you should give your fill the blanks and give your acceptance and submit to the company. So we are providing acceptance format also. So you are requested to study the scheme. Scheme also attached here with. So the employee has to study the scheme and other disclosure documents provided to you carefully and familiarize yourself with the scheme, because many of the terminology has to familiarize and related disclosure documents. This is what the covering letter for ESOP grant letter. Along with this, we are giving the formats. So this is signed by the any one of the director now or chairman of the nomination remuneration committee. There is also called a compensation committee. And here is so and so company. So you write your company name and chairman will sign, chairman day, chairman name and his DIN number and place where he is signing. Date is signed. Then, as I told you, the grant letter format, form 1. This is the whatever I explain now, that is a covering letter. And now I am explaining about form 1, that is a grant letter. Grant letter full details we are giving, like the full name of the employee. Here is the employee code and grant details. Total number of grants company is giving. For example, if company is giving 100, so here we'll write 100 options. Grant date, the date of the board meeting when the grants are decided. So that is the date, grant date or committee date when the grants are decided to give. That is the date of the grant date and last date for acceptance of grant. So in the grant date only we are giving. So within 30 days we are giving the date on or before this date. You have to give your acceptance. So here mentioning the date. And vesting details. Vesting details, minimum is 1 year and it depends on the company. So last year's minimum 1 year. After 1 year, it can be 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, depends on the company. Company can decide. That is NRC can decide. Vesting options granted. So suppose 400 shares or 400 options are granted. Example I am telling. So number of options granted. These 400, it can be vesting date can be different dates. Suppose 1st June. Now we are at 2025. So the number of options percentage here, either you can give percentage 25%, 25%, 25%, 25% like that, or you can give suppose 400 shares, 100 shares, 100 shares, 100 shares. Depends either of the way. Or you can give 30%. Suppose 30% of the options are vesting. So minimum 1 year we are telling okay, 1st June 2026. I am giving you an example. 30% of the options will be vested on 1st June 2026. So 1 year we are giving. And another 20% we are saying 1st June 2027. So for next 20%, it is taking 2 years time. And further we are telling another 30% we are selling about 1st June 2028. So it is taking 3 years. And final 20% we are talking about 1st June 2029. So total 4 years, 30%, 20%, 30%, 20%, total 100%. So here first year, second year, third year, 4 years. So vesting period, we are giving 4 years, year by year. Percentage, first year 30%, second year 20%, third year 30%, fourth year 20%, total 100% for 4 years. So this way we can give. Hope we are clear. Then exercise details. So number of options, either percentage or number we can give. Exercise details. See, exercise is a different, vesting is different. Vesting waiting period. Once your 30% is vested after 1 year, then your exercise will start. Exercise also on the same day you cannot take. We have to give time, sufficient time to employee because he has to pay the money. Predetermined price he has to pay. So time will be given. It may be 2 months or it may be 2 years. It is up to him from the vesting day. So the commencement of exercise date to closure of the exercise date, whether it is a 60 days or 2 years, he can exercise. And his choice, suppose 100 shares are vested, he can take now 50 and based on his availability of the amount, he can take another 50 next month. So during the period, he will exercise. So total number of options. For example, 30% options he is taking on the first year after vesting of the first year. So exercise price, it is decided by NRC. For example, it is a face value of 10 rupees. So exercise commencement date. In the example, we already told first vesting period when it will come 1st June 2026 after 1 year. That is 30%. 30% of his options. 30% of the options will be vested on 1st June 2026. So suppose it is 100 shares. Share price is exercise price is that is 10 rupees. So 10 into 100. So 1000 rupees. If 1000 rupees is available with him, so he will pay 1000 rupees. And he will exercise. So exercise commencement date is the exercise commencement date is the vesting date. From vesting date, So he will get the right to exercise. That day onwards, company will be giving 60 days or even up to 2 years also company will provide, because employee must be having an availability of the funds. So as per his availability, he will exercise in trenches or single. That is up to him. So these are the number of options. We will write 30% and 20% second year, third year another 30%, fourth year another 20%. Exercise price 10 rupee, 10 rupee, 10 rupee face value we are telling. And the exercise commencement date, vesting date, first 30% will be on 1st June 2026. I gave an example tentatively. Another 20% on 1st June 2027. In the example, we said another 30% third year, that is 1st June 2028. Another 20% 1st June 2029, 4 years. So we gave 4 years. Exercise expiry date. This is a commencement date we are giving. That is the vesting date is the first commencement day, commencement of the exercise date. Vesting date, the first day of the exercise. You will be given 60 days or 2 years. So that we will give. Depends, company will decide whether he should purchase within 60 days or 2 years time will be given to the employee. Let him take leisurely. So based on his availability of funds, he will take. Anyway, it is a predetermined price. So we will fill the date. Company will fill the date and he will be given to the employee at the time in the grant letter itself. So terms and conditions. As per the regulations, we have to give terms and conditions clearly in the ESOP grant letter. Herein, after the employee to whom the grant letter is issued shall be referred as the grantee. To whom this letter is given is called as a grantee, because he is taking a grants. So it is a grantee. This is a grant letter giving to the grantee. The options granted are personal to the grantee. So when I am giving Venkateshwar Rao employee, so it is his personal Venkateshwar Rao only. He cannot give to another Subbarao. So, and cannot be transferred in any manner whatsoever other than in accordance with the clause of the scheme. He cannot give to anyone. It is non-transferable. Grants are not transferable. Options are not transferable. Each option will entitle the participant to 1 equity shares. One option, 1 equity. If you are giving 100 options, so 100 equity shares of the company, and options issued to the grantee always be convertible into equity shares. One option, 1 share. So grantee who wishes to accept an offer must deliver duly filled acceptance form. So along with this letter, acceptance format also we are giving, that is form 2 at the registered office of the company, addressed to the following the officer of the company. So he has to address to the if company secretary is there, he can write to the company secretary, complaints on so company. Or if no company secretary, full-time company secretary available there, then he can give the chairman of nomination committee. So here he can write so-and-so director, chairman of nomination committee, so-and-so company, and address, email ID. So he will submit there. His acceptance will be submitted at the given address. So the grantee shall mention his or her name, address, and other requisite details in the acceptance form. Just give all the details. So grantee who fails to return the acceptance form on or before closing date, so if within 30 days if he is not returning, then it is deemed to have rejected of the offer. So acceptance form received after the closing date will be mentioned in the offer letter only. If he is not accepting within the closing date, then it shall not be valid. These will be lapsed. That's all. Grants will be lapsed. So options granted shall vest on aforementioned vesting dates. So whatever the vesting dates mentioned in the offer letter, as per that, the options will be options granted shall be vest. So the grantee shall not have a right to receive any dividend. So this is a only a grant letter only. This is not giving the right of dividend. No vote, no dividend until unless exercise, until unless shares allotted. This is only a letter. These are only options. This is not give any dividend. This will not give any vote in any manner. Enjoy the benefits of shareholder in respect of options granted to him. So no rights will be given until unless exercise the options. Till equity shares of the company are issued on the exercise of the options. Till that time, no vote, no dividend, no rights. Subsequent to vesting date, once the options are vested, So first 30% in the example I said 1st June 2026. So the grantee shall exercise the vested options. He can start vesting as per his money availability and on or before the aforementioned exercise date. So exercise commencement date is a vesting starting date. So then he will be given 2 years time maximum. So during that time, as per his availability of the money, he can exercise. Once he exercise, he will get all the rights, voting rights, he will get dividend rights, he will get. For the purpose of exercise, the grantee must deliver duly filled exercise form. How it will exercise, whether it will automatically will exercise, no. He has to fill the form. After vesting, exercise will comment. So he has to fill form. What is that form? Here I am giving. In this covering letter, it is attached. I will explain. So all the details has to be filled in writing along with the exercise price. We said example exercise price is a face value 10 rupee. Depends, company can decide. It should be attractive price only. By enclosing a crossed check or a demand draft or by electronic NEFT transfer or RTGS transfer. So whatever is the convenient, we'll give all the options in the offer letter. So you can do that. He has to pay the money. Suppose 100 options is vested. If it is 10 rupee for each option, then 100 into 10. So 1000 rupees. He has to pay the money. Then shares will be allotted. Then he will get all the rights. Compensation committee shall verify and accordingly communicate to the employee grantee about valid exercise. So he will submit to the compensation committee. He will transfer the money and company name. So whatever the account number is given. So after receiving, the compensation committee shall verify, accordingly communicate to the employees. Communicate to the grantee, yes, this is valid. So we'll allot you the shares. Shares issued pursuant to the exercise options under the scheme will not be another lock-in. Lock-in is option of the company. This is not mandatory. So company can give a lock-in period of 1 year after exercise. Company can, this is not mandatory. It depends on the company to company. Because already vesting period is there. After that, he will exercise. Further, if the company wants to keep lock-in for 1 year or 2 years, it depends on the company. But it is not mandatory under the act. If it is lock-in is there, we have to mention in our offer letter. If lock-in is not there, then we will say, no, there is no lock-in period. In the grant letter itself, we clearly mention. So each grantee, each employee under the scheme may nominate. So employee can nominate any beneficiary or beneficiaries to whom may benefit under the scheme is to be delivered in case of his or her death before she receives all of such benefit by delivering nominate. See, suppose something happens to the employee, then who will be the beneficiary, who will be the nominee? So nomination form also we are supplying along with this covering letter. So he has to fill the nominee details and submit at the registered office. Submit to the company secretary if available full time, or you can give to the director, chairman, nomination committee, NRC. So for other terms and conditions relating to the eligibility of employees, administration of the scheme, granting of options, method of acceptance, vesting of options, exercise price, exercise of options, termination of employment, notices, correspondence, nomination, non-transferability clauses, and corporate actions, arbitration, if any issues comes, regulatory approvals, accounting method of valuation, miscellaneous provisions, modification of scheme, and terms of the scheme. Employees are requested to study, to know all these terminologies, all these clauses. So employees are requested to study and familiarize with the scheme. Scheme will be supplied to the employee and it will be available on the website of the company. All will be provided to the employee. So in case any clarification, so in the letter we'll write, please contact the company secretary or compliance officer of the company. Will be the phone number also will be given. And as per the regulations, statement of risk has to be given because risk is also involved, because all the investment in shares, whether you are investing 1,000 rupees or 100 rupees, but whatever you invest in shares, options are subject to risk as the value of the shares may go down or go up. So nobody knows. So in addition to the options are subject to the following additional risks. So generally what are the risks? First risk is the concentration. Second risk is the leverage. Third risk is the illiquidity. Fourth risk is the vesting. So as per the regulation, in the offer letter, company has to mandatorily mention the risk factors. What is the concentration risk? Because the risk is arising out of Any fall in the value of the shares in aggravated if the employee's holding is concentrated in the shares of the single company, because your whatever is you are saving. Example, 1,000 rupees is you are saving, you are keeping in one company. Suppose something goes wrong, then the amount will be fluctuated as per the share value. Leverage, any change in the value of the share can lead to the larger change in, because whatever the savings you are keeping in one company and that leverage, if any change, that will be a larger change. Illiquidity, the options cannot be transferred before they are exercised. Once you are getting options are not transferable till the exercise. And vesting, the options will lapse if the employment is terminated prior to vesting. During the vesting period itself, the employee is terminated due to misconduct or options vested. The unexercised options may be forfeited if the employee is terminated before exercise for gross misconduct. So these are all the risk factors which will be mentioned in the ESOP grant letter. Information about the company also has to be mentioned. Business of the company. So company has to describe the main objects and present business of the company. Employee shall be aware of that. And abridged financial information has to be given along with this letter. The last 5 years for which audited financial information is available has to be annexed herewith. Along with the offer letter, 5 years financial abridged financial information has to be attached. And risk factors also has to be mentioned. The example risk factors like sub the companies and export business. So sensitivity to foreign exchange rate fluctuations has to be mentioned. Difficulty in availability of raw material. Sometimes raw material shortage may occur. Or in marketing products, cost, time, over. See all these factors, whatever the company feels, that has to be mentioned in the risk factors. Continuing disclosure requirements. The grantee shall be copies of all the documents. Suppose once the grant letter is given to the employee, then the grantee will the notices of the meetings and all the financials, annual returns and financial accounts. So as well as notice of the meetings and accompanying explanatory statement. So he will be informed what is going on in the company. He will not get voting rights, he will not get dividend, but he will be intimated what is going on in the company for all the meetings, members meetings. And financials also will be served every year for members meeting. Salient features of this scheme also we have to be given. The salient features of the scheme of the company are mentioned below. Brief description of the scheme. Suppose if we are giving to the existing employee, here we'll give that the scheme is designed at a time reward for existing employee as a recognition of past contribution. By acknowledging their dedication and commitment, this scheme aims to further motivate the employee to continue serving as a valuable long-term association. If past employee and for rewarding past and motivating for future, this is the language. If he is a fresh employee, we'll give some target. So these options vesting will be based on the target. It can be linked to the target, linked to the performance. So based on that, the language will be changed. Class of employees entitled to participate and beneficiary in the scheme. This will be decided by nomination remuneration committee. So this also language will change. Employee who have contributed to the growth of the company, if we are giving already existing employees, if it's a future employees, we will link with the performance. Accordingly, language will be changed here. Grant price, I have written face value. Grant price will be decided by the nomination remuneration committee. It may be a face value or it may be little more because it shall be attractive. Vesting period, as I said, 4 years. This can be decided by the nomination remuneration committee. For example, first year 30%, second year 20% of the grants, third year 30%, 4 year 20%. I'll give you an example. Suppose 100 shares, 100 options we are giving. We will say 30 options first year, and second year we will say another 20. Third year another 30. Fourth year another 20. So total 100 options. This is the vesting period. So during the course of 4 years, total 100 will be vested. So year by year, this much a percentage will be vested on the employee. Accordingly, during the vesting period, after vesting, during the exercise period, employee will vesting. So this is an example. I said, for understanding only, I gave this example. This is not the law. This is the purely decision of the nomination remuneration committee. So exercise period. So here I gave 2 years from the date of vesting. So from first year, these 30% will be, employee will be getting 2 years time because he shall be having his comfort, no money, he has to pay the money. So he can take time. After 2 years, all will be lapsed. So in 2 years, happily he can share as per his money availability. And after second year, Then after second year, again he will get from here, again he will have 2 years. Third year, again he will get after vesting, again he will get 2 years. From the date of vesting, he will get 2 years time. Then dates also will be giving clear dates also in the grant letter will be. So this will give a clear idea to the employee, will give all the dates in the offer letter itself. Exercise price, if it is a face value, will write face value of 10 rupees. So vesting conditions, if further any vesting conditions you can give. If there are no specific vesting conditions, you can give blank. Otherwise, you can link with any performance. First year this much of performance, second year vesting this much of performance, third year vesting this much of performance. So it depends. NRC will decide. Locking period. If locking period is there, they can give locking period of 6 months, locking period of 1 year, locking period of 2 years. Depends on the company. Not mandatory. So further, the scheme is also annexed herewith as an annexure and also be accessed at the website of the company. So we'll give you a website. Website will be given. So we will go through the entire scheme. One copy also can attach. So for the convenience of the employee. Then next we'll go to, then this will be signed by the nomination remuneration committee chairman. So for nomination remuneration committee chairman will sign is DIN number and the chairman of the committee, place where he's signing, date, place he will write, his DIN number he will write. So chairman of nomination committee will sign and issue this letter. Then this is the grant letter I have explained. Covering letter I have explained. After covering letter, grant letter I have explained. Then I told the acceptance of form also will be supplied. So this is form to acceptance. The employee after reading, then he will accept within the time given. 30 days time is given. The date also will mention in the offer letter. So how the format will be, acceptance of format will be from so-and-so employee, designation is good, date will be given. And to NRC nomination remuneration committee, that is compensation committee, so-and-so company. Dear sir, reference to the grant letter. So company has already given a grant letter, no? So referring a grant letter, offering ESOPs dated so-and-so under so-and-so ESOP scheme of the so-and-so company. So I have read the terms and conditions stipulated in the grant letter. The scheme and other related disclosure documents, I accept and wish to subscribe. Suppose your company has given 400, if he is accepting 400, okay, or if he is accepting 200, so this is his choice. So employee, this is an option, this is not mandatory. So granted to me under so-and-so scheme, he will fill the blanks and I undertake to be bound by the terms and conditions of the scheme and other related disclosure documents, which I confirm and that I have understood fully. Then employee will sign employee name, employee designation, employee address, employee phone number, employee email address, employee self-attested times, employee self-attested Aadhaar card will be attached. And also a note, henceforth, any correspondence required to be made by the company to the by the company or the compensation committee shall be given to and the address, mail, phone number mentioned in this letter. So if any communication by the company to the employee to the address mentioned here, that is what is written. Hope you are clear. This is the acceptance form. Within the prescribed period, employee will accept and submit. Then exercise. After vesting, I gave an example of first after 1 year, 1st June 2026. Suppose the 30% are vested. Then exercise will start immediately. Exercise period we said 2 years. So from 1st June 2026 to 2 years, he will be getting the time. And as per his availability of the money, he will exercise. At the time of exercise, he has to submit the form to the nomination remuneration committee. By default, on its own, this will not exercise. On its own, the shares will not be allotted. He has to submit the request form to nomination remuneration committee. He has to transfer the money. So how the form will be, I will explain. This is the exercise form. Date from so-and-so employee name and designation, employee code. And he will submit to the nomination remuneration committee, to the nomination remuneration committee, compensation committee, and so-and-so company. Subject is exercise of employee stock options granted and so-and-so scheme. With reference to the above mentioned subject, I wish to inform you that I have granted, for example, 400 employee stock options. We will write 400 employee stock options. Now, this employee may exercise 100 out of that or 50 as per his availability. Suppose vested by the time he is submitting the letter, in that 30% only vested. out of 30% also, he can exercise all options, or he can exercise even any number of options as per his convenience, his availability of the funds. Availability of the funds he can take. Then, with reference to the above mentioned, I wish to inform you that I have been granted so number of employee stock options under this scheme. So the scheme wide letter, grant letter dated. So he is referring the grant letter issued by the company. Date also is referring. I have submitted a duly signed acceptance form. That is, after receiving grant letter, he must have submitted acceptance form. At the time of exercise also, again he is referring grant letter. He is referring exercise. He is referring acceptance letter dated also, giving my acceptance and consent to subscribe dash number of employee stock options will fill the blank, because already he has submitted acceptance. So at the time of exercise, again he is mentioning all the details. In this regard, I herewith exercise my right to convert dash number of employee stock options out of my options. Suppose total number of options is 400. Now he is exercising 100. So he will fill the details vested to me in accordance with the vesting schedule mentioned in the scheme. Because all options will not vest at a time. No? So I told that as per the grant letter, it is a 4 years given. Depends on the how nomination remuneration committee will fix. So I am furnishing the required information regarding the exercise, subscription, and payment details. At the time of exercise, along with this exercise form, he has to transfer the money. So he will write his name, his address, his PAN number, his email ID, his or her phone number. Then grant vesting exercise details. Total options granted. Total how many options granted? Suppose 400. How many options vested? First in 2026, only 100 are vested. For example, you will write 100. Only example I am taking. Options exercise. Now how many you are exercising? So that you will write. Then payment details. Number of options will be 10 rupees. I said no. So how much money paying? Whether it is a check or a DD or RTGS or the name of the bank. So total amount and total inverse. These are all the details filled, and yours faithfully signature, name of the employee, and designation of the employee, and address of the employee, phone number of the employee, email address, and enclosures again self-attested bank card, self-attested Aadhaar card. This is what the exercise form. Once exercise is over, then NRC will verify and allow the shares. And we also informed about the nomination form. Suppose something goes wrong with the employee, he or she died during the course of his employment. So he has to submit along with the grant letter nomination form, which will be submitted to, which will be supplied to the grantee. This has to be filled by the grantee, that is employee, and submit to the nomination committee. So he will write his name, employee details, employee code, submitting to nomination committee, also one compensation committee, so and so company, in respect of the options to be exercised by me under so and so scheme of so and so company. So this has to be filled by the company. The details filled by the employee. So all the I hereby appoint my nominee. He will give the nominee details in accordance with the so and so clause of the scheme. The details of the nominee. So we will give name of the employee, nominee, full name, relationship, whether it's wife or husband or father or mother, daughter or son. So what is the relation? Address of the nominee. Yours faithfully, signature, name, designation, address, phone number, email ID, date, Hyderabad, place. But depends on self-attested copy of the file, self-attested copy of Aadhaar, employee, and anyway, one set will be given to the employee, and the nominee also details will be given. Nominee, Aadhaar, nominee. So these are all the details will be given. So this is the these are all the details. This is with the letter and full details. Along with the letter, all the details are given. So this is what the ESOP grant letter format. This is what the ESOP grant letter format, and along with the covering letter and grant letter, acceptance letter, exercise form, nomination form. All formats are supplying along with the ESOP letter. I explained in detail about the grant letter in line with the Companies Act 2013 and in line with SEBI share-based employee benefit and sweat equity regulations. Regulations also clearly mentioned what the content should be there. So all the details are provided. If at all still any doubts, you can drop your queries. Please subscribe to our channel, RR Corporates. We have another channel, RR Legal Talks. Hope you are clear. Thank you.